The first crack appears in the afternoon. It hides inside something small, a blink that lasts too long. Kazuki is walking home from school when the streetlight in front of him flickers on, then off, then on again. Even though the sun is still high in the sky, no one else seems to react. Cars just keep passing, the wind keeps moving. Somewhere, a bicycle bell rings, all perfectly normal. But Kazuki stops, because he remembers this. He remembers the flicker. He remembers that bell. He remembers that in exactly 5 seconds, a woman will drop her grocery bag. 5, 4, 3. And just like that, oranges spill across the pavement, rolling exactly the way they did in his head just moments before. Kazuki lets out a quiet laugh. Not because he's surprised, just tired. Déjà vu, he mutters to himself. It's been happening more and more lately. These moments that seem to arrive twice, like the world is stuttering, repeating a beat. The woman kneels to collect her fruit. As she gathers the last orange, she looks up at him, and her eyes soften. But it's not with gratitude. It's with recognition. The kind of look you give someone you met during the absolute worst day of your life. Are you sleeping any better? She asks. Kazuki blinks, confused. I don't know you. Her expression trembles, like glass just about to fracture. But she forces a smile. Yes, she whispers, her voice barely audible. You do. He turns and walks away before she can say anything else. He has to, because he can feel it starting again. That crawling sensation behind his thoughts, like invisible fingers rearranging the furniture in a dark room he can't see. That night, Kazuki dreams of tomorrow. He always dreams of tomorrow. It's a preview of the day to come. He sees himself wake up, drink a glass of water, scroll through messages on his phone that don't quite make sense. He sees a news headline he instinctively refuses to read, and then he sees himself pass a mirror and pause, because in the reflection, someone is standing right behind him. Morning arrives. Everything happens exactly as scheduled. The water, the phone, the headline he pointedly ignores, and then the mirror. He braces himself and looks. There's no one there, just him, and the relief is so powerful, so overwhelming, he almost collapses right there on the spot. If the terror doesn't match the evidence, the mind simply deletes the terror. At school, whispers follow him like his own shadow. Teachers speak to him gently, their voices full of a strange pity. Other students stare for just a second too long. People move out of his path with a quiet politeness, as if he's either incredibly fragile or incredibly dangerous. His best friend, Mina, sits beside him at lunch. She smiles the way she always has, warm, familiar. But it feels wrong. You came today, she says, stating the obvious. Kazuki laughs nervously. Yeah, I come every day. Mina doesn't answer. Instead, she just studies his face, as if she's searching for something. Or maybe checking if something is still missing. Kazuki, she asks, her voice careful, measured. What do you remember about last month? His mind floods with static, a burst of white noise. And then a clean, perfect answer materializes. Nothing unusual. Just ordinary days, sunsets, homework, life. He tells her that. She just nods, like someone hearing a rehearsed lie delivered perfectly. Good, she whispers. But her eyes are breaking. That evening, reality finally stops pretending. Kazuki turns a corner on his way home and finds himself right back at the school gate. He tries again, turns another corner, and he's back at the gate. Again and again. The same people pass him by, over and over, repeating their movements like actors trapped in a short, looping video. Their faces start to blur at the edges, losing focus, except when they look directly at him. Then, their features sharpen with an unbearable clarity, and all of them wear the exact same expression, recognition, and grief. Stop! Kazuki whispers to the uncaring street. I'm awake! I'm awake! Just then, the sky tears. It doesn't rip open. It pulls aside, like a heavy curtain being drawn back. And behind it, he sees rows and rows of hospital beds, News cameras flashing, piles of flowers drowning in their plastic wrappers. He knows this place. His bones know it, even if his mind refuses to. The world suddenly resets. It's morning again. The glass of water, the phone, the headline, the mirror, the relief. But this time, something stayed behind. A single sentence, left like a fingerprint on the inside of his skull. You asked for this. The loops begin to accelerate. Days collapse into themselves. Mina is always there, asking the same question again and again and again. What do you remember? What do you remember? What do you remember? And every single time, his mind answers with the same perfect, polished emptiness. Until one loop, he answers wrong. I remember shouting, he says, the words tasting like ash in his mouth. The entire cafeteria goes silent. Every eye is on him. Mina freezes. Go on, she whispers, her voice urgent. I remember being so angry. I wanted everyone to hurt the way I did. The voice isn't his own. It sounds archival, like a recovered recording. The room around him begins to rot. He sees Mina crying, not because she hates him, but because she understands him, and somehow that's so much worse. She left the building after that, walked into traffic. It wasn't dramatic or cinematic. She was just gone. And in his grief, Kazuki built a whole new universe. One where that day never fully completed. A world where the headline on the news always stayed unread. Where her death was just an unsent message, a draft he could delete. He falls to his knees in the ruins of the cafeteria. I didn't kill her, he gasps, the lie tearing his throat. Mina kneels in front of him, whole, terrible, and terrifyingly real. No, she says gently. You just made sure I knew I should. The loops stop. The endless cycle is broken because the lie has finally failed. The fractured world around them waits, holding its breath, ready for his next edit, his next escape, his next act of self-mercy. But Kazuki is tired. So impossibly tired. If I remember, he asks, his voice trembling. Will you forgive me? Mina just shakes her head. No. It's honest, clean, final. Then why would I do it? He asks, desperate. She takes his hand and places it against her own chest, against the absence of her presence. Because it happened. The new morning comes without any softness. There's no protection, no rewritten edges to dull the pain. Kazuki wakes up, and Mina is still gone. The desk next to him at school is still empty. The headline is finally readable, stark and clear. People no longer look at him with confusion. They look at him with an accuracy that hurts. At lunch, a boy named Haru sits beside him. After a long, heavy silence, he finally asks, Are you okay? Kazuki takes a deep breath. The grief doesn't lessen, it doesn't shrink.